Hey, if you VA ever opened your mouth with a hard truth like calling out a shady deal at work, or a fake story online, and got shut down, labeled a troublemaker, or worse, hit that subscribe button right now and stick with me till the very end. I'm about to pull back the curtain on how one brave scientist 400 years ago got crushed for being spot on, right, and how that same twisted game is still playing out today with social media mobs and corporate smiles with shocking plot twists that make you question why the world really hates honesty and the life challenges that come with daring to speak up. You won't want to miss how this all ties into your everyday life, and the one big choice that could set you free or keep you silenced forever. In 1633, Galileo Galilei stood on trial, not for robbing a bank, not for hurting anyone, but for saying something we all know is true today, that the earth spins around the sun. It wasn't some wild guess. It wasn't just talk. He had proof. He had math. He had telescopes, tests, and solid logic. But none of that counted because he said it at the worst time to the wrong crowd in a world that wasn't ready to listen. The church didn't slam Galileo because he was off base. They slammed him because he was dead on, and he wouldn't stop talking about it. Because here's the real deal. When a lie feels cozy enough, the guy who drops the truth turns into a threat. They made him take it back, to stand up in public and say he was wrong, that he sinned, that the earth stays still. And for the rest of his days, Galileo, the guy who made the stars feel closer to us, always stuck in quiet. Locked in his house, cut off from folks, shamed in the history books, not for lying, but for refusing to lie like the crowd. That was 400 years back, and the world's flipped a lot. But not how you'd guess. Back then, the shut-up came from the church. Today, it comes from the boss, from the app's math, from online anger storms, from HR with a grin and a heads-up. You don't get torched at a stake these days. You get marked. You get hidden in searches. You get tagged as trouble, downer, too much, or the killer one, not fitting the team. Because here's the bit no one owns up to. Folks don't hate truth because it's fake. They hate it because it makes them feel dumb. It leaves them bare. It jogs their memory of the bits they've hid away. Truth kills the vibe. It stops the show. It pokes the story that keeps everyone snug in their dreams. And most folks, even sharp ones, would rather bob their head through a fib than face the squirm of switching gears. Because owning the truth means this. You messed up. You got played. You bought into junk that wasn't real. You kept quiet when you should have yelled. That kind of face-off with yourself. It's not just uncommon. It's scary as hell. So what goes down instead? They go after the teller. George Orwell spotted this miles away. He lived war, spin, control, shutdowns, and he got the setup. The more a group strays from truth, the more it'll despise those who say it. Why? Truth shakes things up. It's a pain. It blocks cash, clout, good name. It shows the scam, and no one wants the scam shown, especially those who stake their life on beating it. Orwell didn't just flag governments, he flagged us, how folks would zip their own lips, not from jail scares, but from fear of being left out. You don't need a bully to hush truth, just a bunch hooked on thumbs up. Folks who'll spout anything to hold their gig, fans, pals, look, even if it means breathing in a fib. And so in our world now, like Galileo's, truth gets a pass only when it's harmless. As long as it doesn't poke power, as long as it doesn't dig tough asks, as long as it doesn't push change. But when truth rolls in, clear, with proof, with right on its side, that's when folks grab their blades. Not to slay the truth, but to slay the one bold enough to voice it. That's the true price of seeing clear. You lose the cheers, you lose the bump up, you lose the crowd. Not 'cause you're off, but 'cause you quit the game. And so the ask is, in a spot where truth gets you smacked, what sort of folks are we aiming to be? That's what we'll crack in part 2. So here's the ask. If truth's meant to free us, why do we act? It's 'cause they're risky. Not risky to bodies, but to their fake sure thing. Because truth doesn't just show what's true. It shows what we've dodged. Truth busts the group dream. It slices polite fibs, office talk, polished tales. It reminds folks they've been tricked, that they've rolled with fake stuff, that they've kept low, lips sealed, and right wrong on hold. And no one likes a nudge of their own spinelessness. That's why first move isn't think. It's strike back. Not is he on point, but who does he figure he is? The brain doesn't want clear. It wants shield. It'll torch truth to guard the self. So instead of poking the fib, folks hit the one who busts it. It's not reason, it's live or die. When someone makes you see something squirmy, the brain doesn't see it as a present. It sees it as a hit to who you are. a mess of feeling steady. And so the guard kicks on. Battle the start, not the thought. This is how truth turns bad guy in a spot packed with folks in a fib. But that's just the mind layer. There's something lower and blacker. Truth doesn't just squirm one person. It rocks whole setups. Every group is made on a tale. A tale about how stuff runs, who's boss, what's okay, what's holy. And those tales are guarded not by facts but by do as told. When truth hits that tale, it hits the build that leans on it. Clout doesn't run on truth. Clout runs on faith. Hold only works if folks buy the story. Which means the one who talks out the story turns issue, not cause he's off, but cause he no longer buys. So he's tagged. He's not gutsy, he's wild, he's not straight. He's mess up not clear, but pushy. And slow the truth he says gets hid under the picture they draw of him. They don't argue his words. They poke his voice, his past, his why. Cause it's simpler to hit the talker than face the squirm of what he's saying. This is how the setup guards itself. Not with facts, but with bad feel, with soft scare, with the risk of group out. And most folks, even sharp, right good heart folks, get the word loud. Say truth, and you lose your spot at the board. You lose your name, your call-in, your crowd. You're no longer okay to hang, not cause you're rough, but cause you see too deep. That's the hush rule in most jobs, most homes, most groups. You can think what you like as long as you don't voice it. Cause truth is weighty, it rubs, it calls for shift. And most folks don't want shift. They want calm, even if that calm is on fibs. Look at Edward Snowden. He didn't push gossip. He showed facts. He showed governments, watched folks on a scale never owned up. He yanked the drape and got kicked out. Not cause he sold out the land, but cause he sold out the dream. He made folks feel dumb for trusting bad setup. And no one lets go the one who reminds them how green they've been. Or look at inside blowers in firms. They yell fraud, wrong, hurt, and they're not given. They're pushed aside, cut loose, tagged hard, not follow, not fit culture. Why? Cause the truth they show hits cash, name, same old. And in a spot where look is all, truth is a risk. So the rest of us pick the lesson without anyone saying straight. Don't peek too deep. Don't talk too straight. Don't think too high. We train to spot cracks, but never call them. And slow, the way of quiet turns self, and the way of no turns group. That's why truth isn't just not hot, it's not wanted. Not cause it's off, but cause it busts the deal, everyone quiet, signed to keep faking. The ask isn't if folks know truth. Most times they do. The real ask is what happens to a group when truth turns the one thing everyone agrees not to poke. By now the ask isn't if truth is hated. It's how that hate is set up. Cause this isn't just human feel. It's not just self or mind. It's a setup, made, kept, fine, and George Orwell saw it years before it turned bits. He didn't write tales, he wrote ahead. In 1984, he set the plan for how groups don't just say no to truth. They wipe it from the talk itself. Cause once you hold the words, you hold the thoughts. If you hold the talk, you hold the brain. Orwell called it Newspeak, a fight version of talk made to make some thoughts straight, not think. Not just bad, not see. Take the words and you take the brain tools needed to even make the thought. If you can't name the fib, you can't poke it. If you can't say the hurt, you can't yell it. If you can't say freedom, you won't know when it's gone. So the setup doesn't need to ban truth. It just has to make it word not reach. And in that quiet, clout wins auto. You don't need shut when folks have no words to fight. And if you think this only entails peak round, war is now called help action. Government too far is public safe. Watch is data grab. Hold turns care. Do as told turns good. Give in turns groan. This is Newspeak now. A talk so clean it makes bad look right. So the regular guy doesn't see the play cause the play lives in the words they use. They're not fib. They're say again. Not cause they buy, but cause they no longer have tools to think out the story. And that brings us to Orwell's most risk thought. Doublethink. The way to hold two against ideas, and by both to know something false but act true. To say one in open, and think other in close, without see the split in self. Freedom is slave. No is strong. It's not just say. It's live way. Cause in a group that smacks truth, your only way to fit is fib. Not just to others, but to self. And once you fib to self, you stop see the price. You stop see that your words no longer yours, that your quiet no longer calm, that your things are just old lines from the story you didn't see you learned. This is the smart of idea. Holper doesn't tell you what to think. It teaches you what not to think. And soon, truth doesn't need ban, it just gone. Hid under layers of show, choked in soft words, drowned by the non-stop buzz of group OK. SHV turns the back sound of now life. And the truth, it turns rude, hurt, split, mess, not need. Cause when everyone okay to fake, real turns the bad. So folks keep grin, keep clap, keep bob through the junk. Not cause they don't know better, but cause know better gets you no spot. In Orwell's Spot, the end win of the rule wasn't hold your body, it was win your see. It wasn't about scare. It was about buy. Get you to buy the fib, even when you knew not true. And what made it? Talk that deads, that clouds, that comf, that kills, so that by the time truth hits, you no longer know what to do with it. You flinch, you say no, you freak, you hide it, cause now truth is the break in your good run inner spot. And that's the end trick. The setup doesn't kill the truth. It just trains you to hate it on your own. No cops, no jail, just a group made so clean that fibs feel safer than asks. And that's when they know they've won. Not when you stop talk, but when you stop think. When you no longer need shut cause you've already zipped self. And the real sad, you'll call that calm. You'll call that grown. You'll call that free cause the fib didn't just change the world, it changed you. At this point, it's clear. Truth isn't just hard to say, it's hard to keep. Cause in a spot made for comf, truth has no home. Fibs, on the other hand, they grow. They don't just live. They're guarded, grown, pushed, set. That's the real risk. Not just that folks fib, but that the setup itself likes fibs. Cause fibs are simpler to run, simpler to sell, simpler to spread. Truth is mess. Fibs are big. So if you're asked why truth always feels uphill fight, it's not cause you're weak. It's cause you'll walk against the machine made to give the other. Start with the clear. Fibs are guarded by groups, by plan. Media doesn't send what's real. It sends what grabs and grab likes mad. Simple, clear bad guys, easy fix. Truth is hard. It takes time. It pokes both sides. That doesn't sell. That doesn't spread fast. So, the media shapes see not through facts, but through say again. Say the fib enough, and it turns the frame folks use to see truth. Then there's school. The spot where you're meant to learn how to think. But in real, you're often taught what to think. Not how to poke, but how to do. Not how to look, but how to show. Grades for learn by heart, smack for no. So folks leave school, trained not to seek truth, but to pass test, to follow rule, to fit. And if you ever ask why so few folks speak up in grown life, look at how we raise kids. Then there's the math. The hid hand that feeds you stuff. Not based on truth, but based on what keeps you look. And what keeps you look. Not hard, not fine, but happy chem drama. Okay. Feel beats reason every time. So the setup gives the fib, cause the fib is more cash. You want proof. Look at your feed. Who gets pushed? Who gets cash? Who gets far? It's not the person dig through, think or rule. It's the guy who tells you in 15 seconds how to fix your entire